Hello, and welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about NextChapter service for virtual paralegals and working with a paralegal. And so I see a few people still coming in here, so we're going to give a little bit more time. I'll do a couple housekeeping items while everyone gets in. Please, let me know if there are any issues with seeing my screen or hearing me today. And if you need me to zoom in or anything like that, just let me know. We do have a chat here, so you'll be able to put in questions that you have. And we'll also cover a live Q&A at the end. So feel free to post questions in there. I might not get to them right as I'm going through everything, but I will definitely take a look and answer your questions at the end. Yeah, so again, use that to let me know if there's any issues, if you have any questions. I'm going to go through some information here, do a little demoing, showing you how to use the service, and we'll make sure that you are fully aware of the service, how it works, and why you should start using it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Mandy, I wanted to let you know too that at any time that you want to, you can also put a question in here as well. There's an ask a question spot. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get into our agenda for today. So today, I do want to give you a little bit of background about our company and why we have this as a service. And then we'll talk about the benefits of using NextChapter's paralegal as a service. Then we'll do an outline of all the duties covered by this service. I think that's the number one question I get asked, what does the paralegal do? So we'll spend some time on that, making sure you understand what the paralegal can do if they work on a case with you. Then we're going to do a sample case. I'm going to demo. I'll actually share my screen and walk through how you add a paralegal, how you communicate with a paralegal, what that all looks like in NextChapter. Then we're going to cover pricing, and we'll do a Q&A. A little background about the company, as I said. So my name is Mandy Ballinger. I'm the Director of Operations with NextChapter. Been with the company for almost 5 years now. And so how we got here as a company to this service was that our founder and our managing director was a former paralegal, and she started a virtual paralegal firm from her own condo in downtown Columbus. So she used all the other systems that were out there to help attorneys prepare their bankruptcies, but none of them were meeting her needs. This was in about 2012, I think, and there was nothing on the cloud. So as you can imagine, being a virtual paralegal was very difficult at that time. And it was having to VPN to the attorney's desktop to be able to access the programs. All the different programs had to be essentially hacked together to be able to use them in any way that was simple. So she definitely saw that there was a problem there. And so she decided she would pivot and taught herself to code, build a team of skilled developers, and created NextChapter in 2013. So we were in development and beta for a little over 2 years before we launched in January of 2016. So now, after 4 years in the wild, we're serving attorneys in every single district, including Guam and Puerto Rico. We really pride ourselves in our awesome and immediate customer support. And we really do try to deliver features and products that fall in line with our company's mission, which is helping people get to the next chapter of their lives. So my role, again, is Director of Operations. I'm responsible for managing daily operations from product development, user support, sales, and customer success, but I also oversee the paralegal operations. And as you can see, I'm also a former paralegal myself. I worked in bankruptcy and foreclosure for about 8 years. I started as a paralegal with the Chapter 13 trustee's office, and that's actually where I learned my love of working in the legal field. So working with NextChapter allowed me to play a large role in building NextChapter's product to really help attorneys, again, being on the cloud and really having more accessibility to use the program. And then we took that one step further with adding the paralegal as a service. So I'm personally passionate about paralegal as a service. I think it fits into our company's mission and provides an extra hand so that attorneys can really focus on extending their firm's reach with less stress and decreased expenses. So, what the paralegal can do for you. Again, this is the biggest question I get asked. And my overarching answer to this, a NextChapter virtual paralegal can do for you what an in-house paralegal can do for you. The software is all in the cloud, and we actually have tools that make it even easier to do that. So they're going to have access to all of the tools in NextChapter. It's a wonderful marriage between the attorney, the client, and the paralegal to all be able to work together in a virtual way that is more cost efficient. And as we know now, dealing with the recent changes, a lot of shelter in place, a lot of people switching from working in office with lots of people to a safer work from home scenario. It's really what we're going to see as a paradigm shift in how attorneys serve their clients and work with paralegals too. And it really opens up, the amount of talent that's out there too, if you can work with anyone from anywhere. So by allowing the NextChapter paralegal to contact the debtor, collect the necessary documents, any of the information needed to prepare the petition on your behalf, you can save you and your staff hours of time on each case. So our paralegals, again, use all the tools and features to help streamline your firm's workflow. This service is an add-on for any case in NextChapter. So you only hire us when you need us. You are paying on a per case basis, and that can help you to decrease your expenses instead of having to pay and hire and manage in-house staff, especially when you don't know what your workload is going to be like. The bankruptcy caseloads vary throughout the year. I know a lot of times the tax season, you can have more filers, where the summertime you might have less filers. So when you hire someone in staff or in-house to work full time, you're going to be paying for them no matter the number of cases you have coming through the door. This is a great way per case to be able to work with the paralegals in a way that's, you're paying what you need, paying for what you need, really. So here, again, a lot of the things that they can do, they can really help you from start to finish on filing your case. And I'm sorry, I think my slide is out of order here. Maybe not. Okay. So I also want to cover really talking about what the service can do for you if you work with a client through NextChapter. So hopefully, after you understand a lot of the benefits, how it can save you time and money, you might be uncertain what the process is going to look like specifically for you and your firm. And that's one of the great things about working with our team. We work with many attorneys with different workflows, processes, and the paralegal really adapts to the firm's preferred methods. Some attorneys have a NextChapter paralegal start work from the very beginning, before any work's been collected. Maybe they have the initial consultation with the debtor, and then they say, okay, now get started and please start pulling, getting all the documents, really from start to finish. So that's one way. That's how most work with us. But then there's also the scenario of, well, okay, I would prefer to continue to have ongoing contact with my client. Or I have a client, it could be per client that you might need to vary how you work with them. So I'll discuss how you can let us know those variances as well. And we track all of that too. So the first time you work with a paralegal, we're really going to sit down, work with you, try to understand how you prefer to work a case and how we're going to be able to fit into that and make it easier for you. And then we're going to document that. So when you purchase your next case, that's all going to be saved. We will always keep you with the same paralegal so long as you were happy with that paralegal. And to date, that's never been an issue. We always have, it's actually the opposite. Attorneys are always saying, oh, I really loved Sherry. Can I work with Sherry again, please? Phil was fantastic. Can I work with him again? Because we know that you're building a working relationship with them. So we're going to keep you with them as long as it makes sense for you. And then that's going to make for a working relationship that you can continue to build and grow on. And then, like I said, we save all that information. And one thing that is a great testament to the service is that a majority of the attorneys who purchase this service become repeat clients. So you might try it out for one and then they find, whoa, that saved me so much time. It's worth it for every case. And that's a lot of times what happens with the attorneys. So depending on what you need, what you prefer, we are happy to, help you with any of the tasks needed. So for example, for the client interview, we ask the attorney, when you purchase, do you want the debtor to enter their information through our online debtor portal, NextChapter? And if so, the paralegal can help invite the client to that, follow up with them, make sure they received the email, make sure they understand how to use it, really take care of that whole process of getting the debtor to input their information online, upload their documents. The paralegal reviews, maybe sends it back if there's anything missing, or if everything looks good, they'll go ahead and import it into NextChapter. So you can be very hands-off and allow them to do that. But for example, if you have a client come through the door who's not tech savvy, maybe they don't want to enter their information on the portal, if they don't want to do that because they're, for whatever reason, we understand that might be the case too. So that's why we ask you, when you add the paralegal, do you want them to use NextChapter or not? It's not one size fits all. We're always going to adjust to your needs and to your client's needs to make, that's the point of hiring the paralegal, to make it so that your job is easier and that your clients are being served in the way that makes the most sense for them as well. We'll also assist with any of the due diligence searches, credit reports, prior bankruptcy searches, Kelly Blue Book, NADA. We will help with any of that. So all the due diligence searches can be done by the paralegal. It's saved to the case in NextChapter. And that's a way for you guys to be able to collaborate and communicate too. It's all going to be saved within the case in NextChapter as well. Then they'll obviously assist with inputting and preparation of the data into the forms. So, we're going to help with all of the federal forms, any of the local forms. If you're doing a Chapter 13, we can help with the Chapter 13 plans if you would like as well. And then we'll also follow up as we're inputting that information to get any of the additional information needed from your client. So as you can see, we really help with anything in between that may come up, from preparation to filing. We also help with post-petition work as well. So if you have anything, if the debtor's in a Chapter 13, their income changes, expenses changes, you need to amend I&J, possibly the plan, we're more than happy to help with that as well. The pricing structure is different. That pricing, instead of being a per case flat fee, it would just be billed on an hourly rate. And I'll go over our pricing here in a little bit. So now I just want to walk through what it looks like to purchase a virtual paralegal and communicate with the paralegal. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, great. So as I said, any case in NextChapter, you can actually add a paralegal to. And what's great about that is that we can go through some different options here. I'm going to show you bankruptcy, but I do want to point out that we really can work on any case type in NextChapter. Our bread and butter and what we started with is obviously bankruptcy, but you can purchase the service of a paralegal for any case type. I'm going to start with bankruptcy because that's usually what most people are using the system for and looking for. But I did want to point that out in case anyone's looking for help in other areas of law too. So if I were to start a new case for a client that I have in bankruptcy, let's say we're working on David Debtor. If I have a client come through the door, I can, and maybe they don't come through the door. Maybe it's through a phone call because we're not having that as often anymore. So what happens is when you start the case in NextChapter, and I'm going to make my screen a little wider here, you can go ahead and start by entering in their basic contact information. That's the most helpful thing to do. Saving in their email, saving in all of their phone number, all of this stuff Obviously, the paralegal is going to need that if you want them to reach out and collect the information needed, do the client interview, let them know anything that's missing. So it is very important that you save this information in here so that the paralegal does have that to be able to contact the debtor. Another thing that's helpful is if during the initial consultation you received any documents from the client, even before you purchase the paralegal, you can come in here and use this document checklist. They will use this as well, so that they can say, you can let them know, hey, I already got this, I already have this, I already have this. That's a helpful thing to do just so they know they can assess the case and see where to get started. Then in the additional documents, client document storage, this is where you can actually upload any of those documents that you have. It's helpful to save them in here. This is where the paralegal is going to import the documents from my chapter or save any that they might receive through email, so that you can have access to all of those documents as well. So it's like a shared Dropbox folder or file for you to be able to, collaborate and see all the documents together if there's any questions. And, it's unlimited document storage in here, and this is very secure. So this is a great way to collaborate with the paralegal once you've added them on. So once you have their contact information, you've updated the case with the status and any documents that might have been received. Then if you want to, a lot of times the next step is hiring the paralegal. So if I come to hire a virtual paralegal, we give you the information here to let you know, a little resume for the paralegals, let you know what they'll do, the skills that they have, and we give the pricing here. I'm in my testing environment, so this pricing is not accurate. So I will show you the actual pricing here, but the pricing is going to vary by the case type. So if the case is actually a Chapter 13 and I want them to help the plan, for the pricing to update, I do need to go into my filing information prior to hiring the paralegal and say, you know what, this is actually a 13. And it is good to select yourself too as the attorney, just so that the paralegal has that information right away. So if it's a 13 and I want them to help with the plan, for example, I do want to make sure the case type is set. The other thing that's going to vary for the price is the type of case. So this is an individual. When I created the case for bankruptcy, I have the option to choose between an individual or a business as the debtor. So if I choose that the business is a debtor, if I can click it here. There we go. Instead of asking for the debtor's information, the debtor is the business. So I would enter in the business information. And then based on the chapter type, that's how much that's what we're going to determine what the pricing is. And the pricing really just is going to vary by the additional amount of time that it's going to require the paralegal to do. So you can see all the pricing. And we do have in here, there'll be additional pricing for emergencies. An emergency is a case that the petition needs to be filed by a hard and quickly approaching deadline in order to prevent any harm to the debtor. So for example, stopping sheriff's sale. If they need to file to stop a garnishment that they can no longer afford, or if there's a lawsuit pending, the action is going to be taken by a certain date. If it is a hard date that the paralegal is going to need to really prioritize this case over any of their other cases, then we would consider that an emergency. We're more than happy to help. We have a fully staffed network that works evenings and weekends. So we do have paralegals who can help with that. It's just a higher fee because they do have to do maybe some evening work, maybe some weekend work. And again, they have to put that ahead of their other cases. So when you're ready to purchase, you can click on Hire a Virtual Paralegal. And then there's one more step. We're going to ask this quick questionnaire. This information is sent to the paralegal when they are added to the case. So again, helping them to know what type of case this is, helping us to know how to charge the case, and really allowing the paralegal to hit the ground running. First question, is it an emergency case? So it will be an additional fee if you select yes. And if you do select yes, it's helpful if you can put in any additional information about that here, letting us know what date the case needs to be filed by and for what reason. Next, we ask if you'd like the paralegal to prepare the Chapter 13 plan. You only see this question if it's a Chapter 13, obviously, and that's completely up to you as the attorney. Some paralegals or some attorneys prefer to do it themselves. Some like to have help with it. So we do have staff that is skilled and able to help you with it. You just need to let us know, and there is an additional fee for that. We ask if the case has been filed, and the reason we ask that is again because of the pricing. So if you're adding a paralegal to a case that needs help for post-petition work, clicking no means we're not going to charge you that flat fee for a full case filing from start to finish. What we're instead going to do, the paralegal would then be added onto the case, and you would need to give us additional information. If I say yes, you would need to let us know what type of work is needed, and then we can give an estimate, and we can do it on an hourly basis. So if you want to let us know, we need help with amending INJ for X amount of reason, then we're not going to bill you right now. We're going to track the time and bill you afterwards. But if you say no, we're going to treat this as a brand new filing, and you would be charged that flat fee. Next, we're going to ask you if the debtor's completed the credit counseling course, because a lot of times that is done in the initial interview with the client. So the case can come to us at really varying stages on the credit counseling course, and we need to know if you need our help in getting that completed. We have an integration with debtorcc.org. So if you say no, we're going to ask you if you'd like us to get you set up with debtorcc.org if they don't already have instructions. So if you have a preferred company that you send your clients to, then no problem. You can, say yes, send that to them, and that's no problem. But if you say no, and you want us to really get you set up and invite the debtor, then we just ask you if you want us to create an account for you with debtorcc.org, and then we can invite the debtor as well. And then we have information here. It is $14.95 for the first course for DebtorCC, and it is an online course. So we just need to know that information. Then next, we just have 3 authorizations that you'll need to complete. The first is our terms of service. So if you click on this, it's actually going to open up our service agreement. I do recommend on your first case reading through this. It's going to outline all of the duties that may be included, that may be completed depending on the case and what's needed by the virtual paralegal, and the responsibilities expected by the attorney to review, to oversee, to supervise. So we abide by the ABA's definition of a paralegal, which is someone who is by education, training, or experience knowledgeable on working in the area of law under the supervision of an attorney. So you are the attorney supervising the paralegal. We're simply here providing the service for you. So we do have responsibilities for the attorney. We break down the pricing here for you, and then the terms here as well. So this is included. You click on that link, and you do need to authorize this to be able to purchase. The next is an authorization for the paralegal to contact your client on your behalf. So they would need to do that to be able to collect any of the documents needed or any information to prepare and file the case. But we need that authorization. And then the last one's authorization to charge for the case itself. So when I click purchase, it's actually, if I'm filing, if I have no selected here for has the case been filed, it's going to automatically charge the credit card I have on file. So that's what these authorizations here are for. And I think my computer is being a little slow. There we go. Lastly, attorneys are really good about using this, and it is very helpful. Any additional notes that might be helpful for the paralegal, please put here. We receive notes from letting us know that a debtor works third shift, so email is going to be the best way to reach them, or saying, that the paralegal or the debtor is expecting your call. Anything that's kind of going on, maybe if there's something out of the ordinary in this case that needs special attention, whatever we would find that might be helpful, you can include in here. And that's just gonna, again, we're gonna reach out to you, we're gonna work with you, we're gonna talk to you about the case, but this could help us to really assess and hit the ground running on it. So once I've purchased, I'm missing an authorization. Click that and purchase again. This updates and lets me know that within 24 hours, the paralegal is going to reach out to me. And the exception to that is if you did mark yes, that the case is an emergency, we're going to reach out to you much sooner, pretty much as soon as possible. We'll have a paralegal assigned and reached out if there is a hard deadline approaching. Then it's the same thing as I've already said. I give you some instructions here to upload any documents and client document storage, update your document checklist with anything that you might have received already, and the task list, you can do the same for that, and then save in any additional notes. So here you can see all of the questions. And the next time I come in here, this will actually be gone. This is kind of just an introduction. But then as the attorney, I can come in here and type in additional instructions. This is a really cool feature. This is going to send a message to the paralegal. Then when the paralegal is assigned on, they can communicate back. So when the paralegal types, it's actually going to say, if I was the paralegal, it'd say Mandy Ballinger and the time and date that I sent it. So this is a nice way to document and kind of communicate back and forth. If you go to this little settings wheel, it defaults to emailing you every time the paralegal posts an update or a question or a status in there. So we default to turning this on. I think it's a great feature. It keeps you up to date without having to come into the case to check to see if there's any updates. So this is automatically going to tell you what's going on with the case. And we do really make sure that the paralegals document everything that they're doing, any conversations that they're having, any questions, any issues, just simple status updates. You'll receive those. If you have this enabled, it's going to send you those emails as well. Then from there, the paralegal is going to get assigned on. If it is your first case, they're going to send you an email, and usually they'll give you a call as well to introduce themselves, find out how you prefer to work, kind of document that. What's your preferred email? Maybe you have someone in your office that is the preferred contact for any of the documents that are needed, whatever the case may be. They're going to start to build that relationship with you and track all of that. Then they're going to go through and start working the case. So for example, if you authorized for them to use my chapter, then they're going to come in here and invite the debtor. Maybe they need to invite them also to complete the credit counseling course. They can do that all through here. Then they can send an email, introduce themselves. They will always introduce themselves as the paralegal on your behalf. So again, they're not going to contact them and say, hi, I'm Mandy with NextChapter. They're going to say, hi, I'm Mandy with Attorney Atticus Finch's office. They're working under your supervision. They want it to be clear that it's for the attorney so that the debtor feels comfortable and isn't confused on if they should be sending them their information or their documents, anything like that. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of that. I did want to cover if you wanted to purchase for a non-bankruptcy case. Let me close out of here real quick. In the settings, if you had a family law case that you needed help with drafting some motions, you could actually we have a fully staffed network in all areas of law that can assist you with all of your needs. So if you come in here to billing and pricing plans under Paralegal as a Service, we have the option for you to purchase a package in 5-hour increments to work with a paralegal on any area of law. So for example, in this case, I have a ton in here for my testing. I have 45 hours, but when you purchase, you just select how many hours in 5-hour increments, and they're $50 an hour that you would like to purchase to work with a paralegal. Then once I add them onto those cases, I can kind of keep track of my case history here and see how much time has been used, if they've closed the case, and we can still communicate and share documents and use it as case management tools, just like we can for the bankruptcy case. So for example, I go into John Smith. It looks a little different, so we've really slimmed it down to just the case management tools, but we can come in here and we have all the tools that were available as far as comments, case information, quick information, and then also the client document storage, which is huge with working with a paralegal. And then down here is the paralegal, and this again is where you can communicate back and forth with them and see how much time you have remaining. The paralegals will track their time with the timer here. And you can filter to see how much time the paralegals actually worked on your case. So if this was the paralegal, I could see how much time, which I think this one doesn't have any examples. And you can export that. And they actually add descriptions in here as well. So that's another option. Just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sure most of you are here for bankruptcy, but that is an option that we do have. Okay, I'm going to flip back over here to see if there are any questions. I do see one in here that I'm going to pull up. Before I do that, I'm going to share my screen because I do have the pricing to go over. As I mentioned, it varies by case type. So they start at $300 for a Chapter 7 personal or a Chapter 13 without a plan. I don't think I have that on here. That is also $300. From there, it goes up. If it's a business, it's an extra $50 for that. If it's an emergency, it does go up by $200 for 7 and a 13. And if it is a 13 with a plan, that's an additional $300. If it's a Chapter 11 with the that's a business case, it's $850. So again, it's going to vary by case type. You'll be able to see it once you've updated what type of case it is. When you're in the Hire a Virtual Paralegal section, it's going to update to show you what the pricing will be based on the case type you have entered. And then if you need any help post-petition, there's going to be a fee of $50 per hour, and we'll just track our time and bill you for that afterwards. So I'm going to go to the question. I do see one in here. Oh, perfect. So, yep. And it looks like Sarah had covered this too, but yes, we do allow you. The question is, are there paralegal services? Are the services limited to bankruptcy? Can they be expanded into more general commercial litigation practice? Absolutely. So that's where you would create that non-bankruptcy case type and add the paralegal there. And we will still have your case assigned to one of our amazing paralegals in our network who can get started with you and help in any area of law. So I don't see any other questions on here. So hopefully that's a good thing. I do have in here, oh, it looks like it's missing. I'm going to save this. You should see, there we go. At the very bottom is a green schedule a call button. Sorry, I didn't have that saved earlier. If you click on that, that's going to give you a link to go ahead and sign up for a call if you want to talk specifically about your firm's needs and to see if this is going to be a good fit for you. And that will get you on our calendar to talk with someone on our virtual paralegal team. And we will answer any questions you have specific to you and your firm, and you can kind of envision what this would look like working with us. So I do encourage you to schedule. It's just a 15-minute call, just like a consultation to discuss what this will look like and see if this is right for you. And I also encourage you to try it on a case. As I mentioned, almost every attorney who gives it a try continues to use it. So I think that's a great testament to the skill of the paralegals in our network and how well we have created a process with the technology and the paralegals. So thank you, everyone. That's all I have for today. If you have questions, you can also contact us at paralegal@nextchapterbk.com. Thank you.